Hey everybody, Eric here from Bloat Games. I'm hanging out with Mr. Matthew McCloud. You've heard me talking about a couple times that we are going to be starting a podcast, and this is kind of our pilot episode. Really, what we wanted to do is we wanted you to come on, and you've been listening to my face and hearing me for the past year and a half. I wanted to bring on Matt, and that way you can get acquainted with him. I'll just lead in. How I met Matt was I was invited to go to Origins, and and I accepted to go up there and run some games for the Rogue Cthulhu group. And I had never met Matt, and suddenly found myself just hopping in a car, going to Origins, and sharing a hotel room with this guy.
I even use cookies.
And we had a ball. So, and since then, we kind of became good friends, and, we're looking at doing stuff together in the future. But, so Matt, my channel is based primarily on gaming, as you know.
Yeah.
Why don't you give them, if you were going to put together a gaming resume of yours, what would be listed on the gaming resume?
Oh, man. I mean, I've been gaming since I was a teenager, which is 30-some years ago. I cut my teeth on the red box, the Mensa red box. That's my first introduction to role playing. Was the old school D&D, so I'll go all the way back to that. Actually, through a lot of my teenage years, I played a lot of West End game Star Wars, the old D6 Star Wars. Yeah, I had a cousin in Milwaukee. He and I would take turns coming down or going up to visit, and his family and my family, we would all, or the cousins, we would all play Star Wars because we were huge Star Wars fans. And when that RPG came out, that was amazing because they came down and they saw I had the books, and then of course they had the books, so we started playing that. I played just about everything under the sun. I mean, I'm a huge old school TSR fan, but I've played everything. My go-tos are, of course, Call of Cthulhu. I just love the grittiness, I guess you want to say, of Call of Cthulhu, which again loans to a lot of the old OSR kind of stuff, how real it can get real quick. I love old 2nd edition. I'm playing 5th edition now, D&D, loving it. It's fine, but so I have a special place in my heart for 2nd edition. It was just a lot of their great box sets came out at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The Forgotten Realm stuff, of course, and then Dark Sun. God, I love Dark Sun. Was probably one of the harshest campaigns you could throw at some players. I've played everything. I mean, I'm an old school Traveler fan. Some people may have heard of Traveler. Some people love it. Some people never heard of it. It's just one of those games.
Yeah. I haven't played Traveler, but from everything I hear, it's super crunchy. Is it very rules dense?
Very crunchy. It's not really rules dense. It's just there's so much material. I mean, that game's been around almost as long as D&D. Mm-hmm. It's like the sci-fi D&D. And there's 30, 40 years of history thrown in that game of people just contributing to the Traveler universe. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's real simple 2d6 system. You make the roll or you don't. But the character generation was always the funnest part because it's the only game you can die making a character because you go through careers and you can be in the military and have a training accident and die and make a new character. It's so weird, but it's D&D in space, but it's fun.
So now, do you have a favorite genre? Are you a fantasy guy, a modern guy, a noir guy, a post-apocalyptic guy?
I'm especially with the Cthulhu, I'm more of a noir guy. I love the 20s. I actually love the Victorian era type 1920s games, but I rarely get to dole it out. I just love that Jack the Ripper, London fog kind of feel of the game. When you're doing that, if you're doing it, you gotta play in London. Otherwise, you're just cheating yourself. But yeah, I love 1920s Cthulhu. It's hard throwing that out on new players because a lot of people can't really grasp the 20s unless they've read The Great Gatsby. They don't know what's going on. Because the history of it's kind of vague. It's right after the First World War, before the Second World War. It's that gray area where, it's there's Prohibition and that's about it. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm more of a noir kind of a guy. I mean, of course, I love my fantasy. My go-tos, sad to say, but Paladin in D&D, just because my favorite character in like the David Edding stories was Mander Allen. I loved Mander Allen. He was like my favorite guy in all the books. Well, and then of course the other side of the coin was Silk the Thief. So I kind of fluctuate between those two different sides of the coin. I can play either one of those really easily.
So now, how many paladins did you have then cross over and become anti-paladins?
Actually, no, I stayed pretty true.
Really?
When I play a paladin, I switch into Dudley Do Right Road in mode, and that's the way it is.
During our teenage years, me and my friends, it became a joke of how long could your paladin survive as a paladin with the other group of characters that they were running around with.
Yeah. Sometimes I had to, educate or leave the group. But I always stayed true. Because that's the way I felt. Mander Allen would never give up his morals, and my characters never did either.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, have you done any superhero gaming?
Oh God, yeah, I love superhero gaming. My favorite was, of course, the old Marvel Superheroes, the box set. That box set was great. Again, old TSR, thank goodness. That character creation was super weird because you could have a guy that shoots rainbows and claws on his feet. It's just weird. But Champions was always fun, but man, the rule system was intense in Champions. But no, I love those superhero games. My favorite thing I used to do, actually, fairly recently, when the Margaret Wise hero system came out, I just, and it came out right around the time Civil War did. I was like, well, the heck with it. I was at one con. It was like their first con, and I was throwing some games out, and I said, oh, the heck with it. Let's just do Civil War. I said, I'll have 4 guys on Cap's side and 4 guys on Iron Man's side, and just let them go at it. I'm not even going to have any bad guys jump in. I just had them go at it, and they had an absolute ball.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, you might have to run that game. I might have to play in that.
It's a lot of fun. You got to have a good group of people that know what they're doing. But yeah, I had one guy playing Wolverine and one guy playing Spider-Man, and they were just at each other's throats. It was horrible. Like Spider-Man would be hanging on the wall, like burning the Canadian flag, and Wolverine would go berserk and try to go after him. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Good times. So you mentioned Star Wars and you played a lot of Star Wars, the West End version. Have you played any of the more recent iterations?
I've tried the Fantasy Flight, and I love the background material of Fantasy Flight. It's some really good stuff. I mean, you've gone to the mat as far as researching and the artwork and layout of those books are beautiful. I have a problem with the dice system. It's just I haven't played it enough to get it.
Yeah, that's one of those things with that particular dice pool, because they do something different let me preface this, I haven't played it, but I hear from everybody that there's a learning curve to jumping in. You can't just jump right in. You're going to just be lost your first few games until you figure it out, and then once you get it, you're like, oh, this is how this works. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I played it a handful of times, and it's the symbols, and like one kind of cancels each other, or you can fail and succeed in the same roll, and I just roleplay it, man. I just play my character, and I just throw my dice and look at the gym and say, what did I do? I mean, that's what I do. That's one I tried to run when it first came in, and I didn't have the dice system down, and it's like one of my fantastic flops of ever running a game. I think everybody still had a good time because we just told a heck of a good story. Mm-hmm. But when it came to the dice, we're just like, yeah, that happens.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to name a couple games. See, get your just like one sentence thought on the game.
Okay.
All right. Riffs.
A lot of fun. Played it a handful of times. It's just crazy because of the different armor values kind of throwing me off with the
SDC and MDC.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you can shoot somebody with the mega gun that kills planets, and then somebody with a pop gun can't do anything. But yeah.
All right, so let's go with Fate. Are you familiar with Fate?
Fate. I have not played Fate. I've heard a lot about it. Keep meaning to play it. Have not played it.
All right, let's see. I'm just going to throw this out. Any of the OSR games, any of the old school Renaissance games, so like Lamentations, Flame Princess.
Yeah, Lamentations, Flame Princess. I love that one. I love all the old OSR stuff. I love how it's coming back because it takes me back to the Red Box, and how we actually played, just broke out like an old Red Box game not too long ago, and we're like, man, this is hard. First level's hard. You can die quick. We got like maybe down like 100 yards into a dungeon. It's like, yeah, we need to go back and heal. But yeah, Lamentations Flame Princess, that's a great one. I do a lot of the different hack ones. I'm just now doing the Cthulhu hack, which is a little bit more OSR stuff. I'm doing that one actually at Origins. I'm going to do a Johnny Quest mashup using the Cthulhu hack.
Nice. I saw a very sweet Scooby-Doo Cthulhu hack that I wanted to partake in.
That sounds good.
All right, so then we got like Vampire the Masquerade and those games.
I played it.
Darkness.
I thought it was cool. I actually liked the Mage better,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it's because the Matrix came out about the time we were playing it, and we all played Technomancers because it was like kind of cool and superhero-y and flashy. But we played the vampires, and it's like, yeah, it's cool making up the character and all that stuff, but after a while, you're just like hanging around going, yeah, we're vampires, we're cool.
Yeah, I played that game for about 2 years with a pretty consistent group, and I always preferred to play, because they would kind of mix in all the World of Darkness stuff, and I always preferred to play a werewolf versus a vampire, just because with vampire you just got too much into the hierarchy, and it may have just been the game master that we had run it, but it was just they were always begging or asking for permission from elder vampires, or and you know, I wanted to be able to just exist in that world and not have all the dogma going that went on with it.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed to be like, if you're a vampire, it's like, what level of poser do you want to be?
Right.
It just seemed to me. You want to be at the bottom and not care, or just be the ultimate poser, be Ventru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually played like I did like a Doc Savage kind of a knockoff with the Mage. I did, or even Doc Savage / Buckaroo Banzai kind of knockoff. I did a guy I created called Doc Eon, and he like copyrighted all his techno magical stuff. He had like Doc Eon X-ray specs and Doc Eon boots, and just did all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, I love doing that. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So what about like the Dungeon World, Apocalypse World games? Have you played any of those?
I have not played those. I haven't been. There's a lot of the newer stuff that's come out, or relatively new to me, that I have not played. I have heard of Dungeon World and Apocalypse World. I have not played it.
Not played. Yep. All right. And then the last one, and this is one of the definitely more system light, but it's pretty popular. Fiasco. Have you?
I love Fiasco. Actually, I did a for our local nondescript group called the RPG Buffet. Either in Louisville, you either know all of them and love them, or you've never heard of them. I ran Strangers on a Train. It was a playset that I wrote up, and it was Cthulhu. It was a Cthulhu mashup. It was just they all. I actually had to expand a little bit because I had 6 players. So I think it's made for like 4 or 5, maybe. I think you're pushing 5. Pushing it 5, and I really had to push it at 6. So I had to make a whole new playset. But they were just like random people on a train going from like it was like a train in Egypt in like 1920s going to Cairo, and just like weird mythos stuff just kind of started happening around them. But it was half the fun is like making those characters and doing the interconnections between who each other was playing. Right. I loved playing it. The only thing was like it was like the laziest GM job I ever did because they do all the work. you know?
Definitely.
You just kind of tell them what they're doing based on their role. But yeah, that's about it.
So now, are you a connoisseur of RPGs? Meaning, like, do you just dive in? Do you read RPGs, even games that you have no intention of ever playing, just to see what goes on in those type games?
Oh God, yeah, I've got a shelf full of old James Bond games, the old James Bond games that I have never played, but I loved it because it had the seduction rule. Nice. you know, I've got tons of GURPS that I played, and I love to play GURPS. I love to run GURPS, but nobody likes to play it because math is hard.
Yeah.
For some reason, and they can't get around it. Same reason with second edition, just people can't get Thaco. You
know what? I'm not to go on a diatribe, but Thaco is done. It doesn't exist in my world anymore. If you're playing a game with me and you're playing Thaco, guess what? That stuff's just flip it and tell me what you got. Subtract that from 20. I want to know.
I never had a problem with Thaco. I mean, I don't know. I was one of those people who could just play it and was fine with it. It was the midpoint on a number line for me.
I never had a problem with Thaco until until 3.0 came out. When Dungeons & Dragons 3.0 came out, that's when I really played my first true ascending armor class. Now, I'd played a lot of the Palladium stuff beforehand, which is also real high.
Yeah.
But once that happened, and I was like, why are we bothering with Thaco? I was done from that point on.
Yeah, and I guess it does make sense because it's set limits on it because you can never be worse than armor class 10, which was buck naked and clumsy, and you can never be more than negative 10, which is fully armored tank. Yeah, and in D&D you can have armor class 30 if you want, in the newer versions. I'll be honest with you, 3.0 I held off for the longest time. I would not do it. I loved my beloved second edition stuff. I had all that stuff and collected like endless box sets of second edition. I didn't play it until Knights of the Old Republic, the Xbox game, came out. And I was playing that because I love Star Wars. And I started realizing the system was 3.0 or maybe 3.5. And I was like, and I realized the feats and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is, okay, now I get it. And then I started playing 3.5. I allowed myself to do it after Star Wars.
See, it's funny. I was a first edition guy. And I never got into second edition. I played it some, never really got into it, but we would buy all the supplements for second edition and retro convert them back to first edition.
Yeah, that was the beauty of it. You could do it, not too much trouble. Yeah, you can ignore Thaco. Yeah, absolutely.
So by the time third edition hit, I was like, okay, I'm ready for a new edition because everyone else had been playing second edition. I didn't get into. I don't even remember. God's honest truth. I know the skills I had an issue with. The skill system, and there's something else about that system that I didn't.
The specializations. I mean, after, and especially when all the different handbooks came out, because it started making the fighter less and less great, because the only trick that the fighter had was like he could double specialize. Nobody else could double specialize in a weapon and be badass in it. And then they started doing the swashbucklers and different other versions, and it made it to where it was the fighter was not. Was more vanilla than vanilla. So I get that. I still loved it. I mean, I just loved the Fantasy Worlds that they had made. Birthright, God, I loved Birthright. Was a great campaign. To me, that was D&D meets Highlander, with that whole taking their power of another blooded character kind of thing. I love that part. As a matter of fact, I changed it to where you didn't stab through the heart. You had to cut off their head, just like Highlander.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really dug of their settings. I really got into Dark Sun. A lot of people didn't like Dark Sun because they're like, "Oh, you got psionics, and it's so bleak and
mind witches."
I love Dark Sun. I prefer my fantasy very much a low fantasy, and Dark Sun was the closest D&D version of low fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't mind having elves in the world, but like I hate when like every character is basically what I call like a World of Warcraft race. It's like,
oh yeah,
I prefer human centric, low fantasy, low magic. You're a person with a sword.
Yeah.
And if you run into something supernatural, holy shit, you ran into something supernatural.
Yeah.
So.
Well, just getting from point A to B without dying of thirst was actually a hazard in there. And the most dangerous character in the game was a halfling with a spork. So they were like carnivorous, and they were some the vile feral kind of dudes.
Dude, I remember getting lost in the Sea of Dust. Oh my gosh.
The Silt Sea?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You're done, man.
You're ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah. You run around with obsidian swords. You see somebody with a metal sword. That was amazing. They're like, who did he have to kill to get that? Yeah.
Right.
I love the psionics powder about it. I loved how everybody at least had some kind of wild talent. Everybody, so you never knew how badass somebody was. It could be, you could look like a beggar in the street and just totally gut you. You never know. Exactly.
There was a module that I ran a whole bunch of times from Dark Sun, the Arena of the Thyatis, I believe.
I ran every module they put out. I did. We had one great group. and everything they put out, the Asticlian Gambit, all the different Dragon Spine Mountains or Dragon Crown Mountains. I forget which dragon version it was, but we ran that. I mean, we did everything from the very first modules out of the box set to the last ones that they had published, and God, they were all just great. They were all just really well done, or at least I could spin them enough to be really well done. I just love running games, man. That's just me.
So I was gonna say, and that was one of the last questions I had for you was, what do you prefer to be, a game master or a player?
Hands down, a game master. I mean, I go to cons mostly to run games. I mean, I go to Origins. I go to cons all over the country. And I go to run because I love seeing that reaction. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the reason why I like running Cthulhu mostly at cons, because when you get that first initial, oh crap, look out of them, that's just so rewarding to me. It's so much fun.
See, it's funny because I get requests, like a lot of people want me to run games. A lot of people know me who've played my games. I get a lot of requests to be the game master, but I always have preferred to be the player.
Yeah.
And why I like being the player is for the surprise, because like I like running a game, and I feel like hosting a game, and you know all that stuff, make sure everyone is having a good time. But I like the surprise of not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's cool, and I like that. I don't know, and it may be because I go to so many cons, and you come across so many different players, and it's such a mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
I've told, like, almost all my friends know this about me. I'm a bit of a bitch about who I play for. I really do. I got to know who you are before I really will sit at the table and commit. I mean, I'll come sit down and play with anybody, but if I'm going to commit to like campaign, I kind of have to know you're a good player. I am. I've been running games for 30 years, and I know what I like and I know what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. But yeah, when you played in our Cthulhu game, it was crazy because it was like the first time you started getting into action, you're trying to heal one of the players and you almost killed him trying to heal him. So that was fun.
I have cursed dice rolls.
It was bad. It was the worst dice rolls I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Well, for everybody who follows my channel and stuff, and if you're still stuck around to the end, thank you so much. But Matt's going to be coming on board with us here at Bloat Games. He's definitely part of the Bloat Games crew. So you're going to be seeing his name in some stuff coming up. Don't want to give too much stuff away. But in the meantime, we'll be back. He and I will be doing this as often as we can together. So you'll still be getting solo content from me. But and maybe we'll be able to get Matt to make his own YouTube channel and get him in there and get him going.
I can do that, yeah.
All right. But in the meantime, thank y'all for watching. You have a great day.
Thanks.